Alright, so in chapter 7, there are going to be 4 subtopics that we're going to discuss. So we're going to start with 7.2. So I have a reason why I actually skipped 7.1. So the reason is that the right triangle applications, we have already discussed this in 4.4. So it's actually going to be the same thing. So whereby you have application problem that involve right angle triangle. So we have already discussed that in subtopic 4.4. So therefore what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip 7.1 and straight away go to topic 7.2, so which is going to be on sine and also cosine laws. So actually this is not going to be new to you, so you have already learned this in your high school syllabus. So this is just going to be sort of like a refresh for you of what you have seen before. Okay, so now let's start with the sine law, the law of sines. So the law of sines says that if A, B, C are the measures of the angle of triangle, so basically A, B, and C, they are angles, and A, B, and C, capital A, B, and C represent the angle, and the small a, B, and C, they represent the length of the side of the opposite of these angles. Then we have an equation that A over sine A is going to equal B over sine B, and is equal to C over sine C, or equivalently. So instead of like putting all the length at the top, you can also put the length at the bottom, and the angle goes, everything on the angle goes on top, and they are going to be in terms of a sine function. So whether length at the top or angle at the top, so both of them are actually equivalent. You can use both of them. So basically this is going to be the idea of a triangle. So this is going to be our here, this is going to be our triangle. So this is going to be our angle A, capital A. So the one that is opposite, so the side that is the length that is opposite of the angle, so that is going to be our small a. And here we have our angle of capital B, so the length that is opposite of capital B, so which is the small b over here, so that is going to consider the length B. And this is going to be our angle of capital C, opposite of C. This is going to be our length of C. Okay, so basically, so the angle and the length, they are going to be the opposite of each other. So C is going to be here, A is going to be on the other side, and C is also going to be on the other side. Remember, it's always angle and length is always opposite. So I'm going to start my calculation by using these two figures right here. So I'm going to start with a very simple one, and then we're going to gradually add it up the level of difficulty. So now let's start with the first one. So for the first one, what happened is that we are required to find the length of y. So we're going to find the length of y by using this figure and whatever information that is given in the figure. So we basically have three angles. Of course, if it's a triangle, we can have triangle. So one is given by 62, one is given by 75, one is given by theta. So the thing is that, so when you wanted to find, to use the sine angle over here in order to find any value, so you need to know at least 3 values, okay? So there is going to be either 2 sides or 2 angle, okay? So depending on what information do you have. So now what happened is that I wanted to find what is going to be the value of y, and I have one of the length, so which is given right here, okay? And I also need to find 2 angles. So one is going to be concerning the one that is opposite of y, so I need to find what is going to be the angle of this, and I also need the information of the angle that is opposite of the length that we know, which is 10.2, but it's already given, so we know that the angle is going to be 75. So therefore now, first of all, so I'm going to start by finding what is the value of theta. And we know that when we have a triangle, so the sum of the overall angle is going to be 180. So if I were to add this angle and this angle, so it should be a sum of 180. So theta is going to equal 180. So minus 62 degree, so minus 75 degree. And you simply have to use your calculator to count this. 180 minus 62 minus 75, so that is going to give us a value of theta equal 43 degree. So now that we already know, so we already have 2 angles and we have 1 length that we already know, so straight away we can find what is going to be y. So I wanted to find y, so I'm going to put y on the side on the top, and the angle opposite to y is going to be sine of theta, that we already know is going to be 43 degree. And one of the length that we know is going to be 10.2, and the angle opposite to the length is going to be an angle of 75 degrees. So you can simply use your calculator for this. So you're going to have to do an operation of 10.2 over sine of 75 degree, so multiplied by sine of 42 degree. And please remember, before you start your calculation, so make sure, because this is in terms of degree units, please make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. So I'm going to have 10.2 multiplied by sine 43, so divide by sine 75. So that is going to give us a value of 7.20. So let's take 7.2. And here, if you realize the unit of the length is given in inch, so this is going to be 7.2 inch. So that's it. So that is going to be our length of y. Okay, so that is going to be for the first one. So now let's move on to the second problem. So in the second problem, so we are given the following figure: solve the triangle. So how do we going to solve this? And that means that we have to determine the remaining side and angle. So where is the remaining side and angle? So we have to find the value of A, and we also need to find what is going to be the value of these two angles at A and also at B. So we don't actually have to find both A and B. We can actually just find one of them and use the rule of triangle. The fact that when we add up all the angle, it should be 180 degree. So I'm going to call this, this is our angle of capital A. This is going to be our angle of capital B. So now, if I wanted to find A, so I would need to find what is going to be the angle of A. So I cannot find A yet. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use both of this length, that we have both information about the length. So I'm going to find what is going to be this angle right here, so which is going to be the angle of capital B. So sine of capital B, so according to the rule, is going to be over the length, the opposite of it is given by 4 of square root 2, and we also have another information which is going to be 8 over here, and the length opposite to that is given by sine of 45 degree, so that will be divided by 8 feet. So now I can easily find what is going to be sine B. So sine B is going to equal sine 48 degree divided by 8 multiplied by 4 square root 2. And using our calculator, we get sine 45. So multiplied by 4 square root 2. So divide by 8. So you will get a value of 0.5. And of course, we have seen this before in the previous topic. So how do we find B from the function sine of B? All we have to do is inverse. So B is going to be the sine inverse of 0.5. And sine inverse of 0.5, so that is going to give us a value of 30 degrees. So now we already know that B over here is going to be given by a value of 30 degrees. Okay, so now that I already know like two of the angles, I can easily find what is going to be the angle of A. Because I know that when I sum up of the angle, because it's a triangle, it should be 180. So A is going to be 180 degree. So minus 45 degree, that's the angle at C. And the value at B is going to equal 30 degree. So I'm going to have 180. So minus, so that is going to be 75 degree. So therefore my A value is going to equal 105 degree. So that's going to be the angle at A. So now that we already know what is going to be the angle at A over here, so straight away we can find what is going to be the value of the length small a. So now let's use the sine law again in order to find what is going to be the value of small a. So small a over the A angle, which is sine 105 degree, is going to equal, so let's use this side over here, so 8. So that is going to equal 8 over sine of 45 degree. So I can easily find the value of A. So I'm going to use my calculator to find 8 divided by sine 45. So multiplied by sine 105. So that is going to give us a value of 10.93. And the unit for this case, so it's given in terms of feet. So 10.93 feet. So that is going to be our value of small a. Okay, so that's it. So that is going to be, so we already found everything. So we have all the sides. So we have all the angles. We have answered whatever that is required in the question. So that is going to be in terms of sine law. Okay, so now we can have a look at the law of cosines. So the law of cosine states that if A, B, C are the measures of the angle of triangles and A, B, C are the lengths of the sides opposite of this angle, so it's going to be the same position as what we have seen for the law of sine as well. So if you have this is an angle of capital C, opposite from it is going to be the length of small c. If this is our angle of capital A, across from it is going to be the length of A. And if this is an angle of capital B, so across it is going to be the length of B. So according to the law of cosine, so if I have A square, so that is going to equal B square plus C square minus 2BC cos of A, or you can apply any of these three formulas that we have over here. So basically, so what you have to do is you need to have three informations in order to use this formula. So first you need to have at least two of the sides, and you also need the angle that is opposite to the value that you want to find. So if you're going to find what is going to be A, you need the angle of capital A. If you want to find what is going to be B, you need to have the information about capital B. And if you want to find C, so you need to have information about the angle capital C. Okay, so that is going to be information that you need, and you also need the rest of the other two angles. If you want to find C, you need to have A and B. If you want to find B, you need to have A and C, and so on. So that will be the idea. Okay, so we have these two examples right here. So I'm going to start with the first one, for which all we have to do is we need to find what is going to be the length, x. So as I mentioned to you before, so if we want to find one of the lengths, so we need to have the other two, so which is given by 7 and 8 for this case. And we also need to have the angle that is opposite to the length, which for this case, we already have all the information, so we can easily find what is going to be the value of x. So according to the rule, so x squared is going to equal both of this length square, 7 square plus 8 square minus 2 multiplied by both of this. So it's going to be 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 8, and cos of, so here the opposite of the length is going to be a cos of 120 degree. So from here, when we calculate, we'll get 7 square plus 8 square minus 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 8, and cos of 120. So I'll get a value of 169. But of course, remember, so this is x squared, but we wanted is not x squared, we wanted to find x. So just square root the answer that you got just now, and you will get a value of 13. And for this case, so the unit for x is going to be in terms of centimeters. We can have 13 centimeters. That is going to be our answer. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, so the second one, what are we required to find over here? So we are given the value of all the sides, A equal 3, B equal 5, C equal 7, and we need to find all the angles. So use degree measure. Okay, so now first of all, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with finding one of the angles. So let's say that I'm going to find what is going to be the angle of A. So now if I wanted to find the angle of A, so let's use the formula first. So when I use angle of A, so therefore I'm going to start with the length of A. So I'm going to have A squared is going to equal, so let's write it in terms of number right away. Or I can write it in terms of formula as well. So just for you to get a clear idea for it. So I'm going to have A squared is going to equal B squared plus C squared. So minus 2BC cos of A. So this is going to be our formula. So now let's start substituting. So A is going to equal 3. So B is going to equal 5. And C is going to equal 7. So minus 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 7 cos of A. Okay, so now I'm going to start rearranging them. I'm going to write, if I wanted to find what is going to be cos of A, so I'm going to have to move this to the other side and this to the side. So I'm going to have cos of A is going to equal 5 square plus 7 square. So minus 3 square. So divide by 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 7. So that's going to be cos of A. And when I use my calculator to find this, I will get 5 square plus 7 square minus 3 square. and I'm going to divide that by 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 7. So that is going to give us a value of 0.9286, for example. Or you can just simply cos inverse the whole thing that you got from the calculation. So if I cos inverse the whole thing, I will get a value that A is going to equal 21.79 degree. So that is going to be the value. All right, so that is going to be my A. So now that I already have find A, so I can also find the other angle. Okay, here, so now that I already know this is 21.79 degree, so you have choices that you can pick. So either you can use cosine rule, and actually you can also use the sine rule. If you notice, I don't know, like if I were to pick between using sine and cosine, I would definitely go for sine. I think that the sine rule is going to be a little bit more easier. There's like less value to substitute compared to the cosine rule. So therefore, for this case, I'm going to use cosine rule. Sorry, I'm going to use sine rule. I'm going to find what is going to be the angle of B. So using the sine rule, so I'm going to have sine of B over the length opposite to it, which is going to be 5, is going to equal, so now that I already have information about A, sine of 21.79 degree, so divide by the length opposite to it, which is going to be 3. So I will get that B is going to equal, let's put sine B first. So I'm going to have sine 21.79, so divide by 3 multiplied by 5. So I get a value of 0.6187. Okay, I'll take like 3 or 4 decimal places. And then I'm going to find B. All I have to do is sine inverse my answer. And I'll get a value of 38.22 degrees. So that is going to be our angle of B. Right, so now that I already know A, so I already know B as well, that this is going to be 38.22 degree. So in order to find C, all I have to do is use the fact that the summation is going to be 180. So C is going to equal 180 degree minus 38.22 degree, so minus 21.71 degree. So 180 minus 38.22 minus 21.79. So that is going to give us a value of 119.99 degree. But sometimes in our calculation, so there will be difference between like a little bit difference on the decimal places depending on the value that you take right here. So if you take 4 decimal places, or you just like sine inverse the whole thing according to answer that you get, of course the decimal places will change. But does that mean your calculation is wrong? No. So if it just a small difference in the decimal places, there's no problem with that. So both answers are actually correct. So therefore, for this case, I already found what is going to be the angle of A, B, and C. Now we are done with our calculation. Okay. So for this case, so you have to choose wisely. So whether for that case you have enough information for you to use sine law, or you have to use the cosine law. So based on the information that we have going to decide. So which one fits better, whether it's sine law or cosine law. So the choice is up to you.